G'day folks. Today I'm a bit bunged up, but I've still got 5 great little tips that can help you eat healthier and save money on your groceries. Interested? Let's do it. So this video is inspired by some comments that I had recently from people saying they were looking for tips on how to eat healthier. Now, I've never been a fan of these crazy fad diets, and all the evidence seems to suggest that they don't work and they're not sustainable and they're just a big old scam. But then I thought, well, there's actually lots of little things that we do day in, day out, which contribute, I think, to a healthier diet. And you probably do a lot of these as well. But that's what this video is all about. Just simple little changes that you can make every single day that are going to help you to eat better. And the bonus of it all is that all these little things that we do also actually contribute to us spending less when we get to the grocery store, because we're not buying all the convenience, ultra-processed snacking foods that we used to. Got a handful of tips, and I'd love to know if you've got any others that you do. Just simple little things that you do every day that you probably don't even think about much anymore, but you've made it a habit, and as a result, you're eating healthier and it's helping you save money at the store. Stick it in the comments. Love to know what you do. Okay, so let's jump in to today's first tip. Despite having worked in the food industry more or less my entire career, it wasn't until about 2 or 3 years ago that I really started paying attention to food labels. Now, I'd always had a glance here and there and kind of thought I knew what I was looking at. But 2 or 3 years ago, I really started learning and educating myself about what these things were. Things like emulsifiers and stabilizers and anti-caking agents, which sounds absolutely lovely, doesn't it? You've probably got your own views about the long-term effects that lab-produced things like xanthan gum or citric acid may have on your health. But put it this way, at best, they'll do nothing for you, and they're only there to make the food last longer on the shelf. At worst, on the other hand, they are bad for you, maybe for your digestion or your heart or your liver or some other important part of you. But in either case, why not give them a miss as often as you possibly can? I try sticking to the old adages, like a short ingredient list is a good ingredient list, and if it's not in your pantry, it shouldn't be in your food. But on top of that, doing the extra reading to find out what this stuff really is has, without a shadow of a doubt, changed my buying habits, and I think helped me eat a healthier, more natural diet. So, you're sitting at your desk doing some work, or maybe just chilling out in front of the TV, when suddenly you realise how thirsty you are. What do? Well, more often than not, I used to go to the fridge and pull myself out a sugary soft drink, or go into the cupboard and fix up a sugary glass of squash. But not anymore, folks. Want to know what I do instead now? Come and have a look. It's right there in your kitchen. It's literally on tap, in fact. And I can't believe there was ever a time when I didn't choose to drink water. Some people will tell you 10 cups a day. Some say it's 4 litres you should be aiming for. But personally, my rule of thumb is feel thirsty, drink water. Haven't drunk water for a while, then also drink water. And in addition to being vastly cheaper than a litre of soda, the list of health benefits is as long as your arm. But to pick out just a few of them, staying properly hydrated means your brain works better, digestion works better, you have more energy, your kidneys will do a better job for you, and your skin's going to look better too. Now that's got to be better than Botox, surely. For my next piece of advice, I have this. Chew more. Probably think that sounds a bit weird, right? Well, hear me out. You see, back in the day when I was a kid, sitting around the dinner table with my folks, my dad used to tell me to eat more slowly. Now, I took his feedback on board, and to this day, I am the slowest eater that I have ever met in my life, bar none. And I'm not saying you should take it to quite the extent that I have, but I've always been convinced that it was of benefit to me in terms of my health and my diet. And it turns out, and I only learnt this very recently, that there is actually some science to this, because chewing is actually a natural signal to your body that you are becoming full. So the more chewing you do, the more quickly you receive that signal from your brain and you stop eating. And that is why that makes this a great way to eat more healthily, because it's going to reduce the volume of food that you're eating, and it's going to cut your costs because you're not going to buy as much in the first place. And by the way, this also holds true if you happen to have a diet that's very high in soft, ultra-processed foods, because what happens there is your body, it doesn't get the signal to stop eating as it would if it was eating harder, solid foods. And as a result of that, you carry on eating more. So chew your food more. Don't get crazy about it like I do, unless you've got very patient friends and family who don't mind sitting there waiting for you to finish. But I think just every time you eat, just be a little bit more conscious, a little bit more mindful about how much you are actually chewing the food, and just gradually start to slow things down. Just take another few chews, another few moments, and as a result of that, you're going to eat less, you're going to spend less on food in the long run as well. So for this next tip, come with me, if you will, into the Grocery Dad pantry, because I want to show you something in here, and that is swapping this stuff for this. Brown rice instead of white rice. I cannot tell you how much of a difference that has made to our just sense of well-being and health. I used to eat a ton of white rice. Always felt bloated, always felt horrible and just yucky after eating that. Brown rice, I'm gonna be honest with you, was a bit of a stretch at the beginning. Did not like the taste of it. I did not like the texture, but I certainly did like not feeling shitty after eating it. So make the switch. I don't know this is necessarily going to make you any kind of money saving, because they're probably about the same price. If anything, maybe the brown might even be a bit more expensive. But I guarantee you, if you eat less of that stuff and more of this stuff, you are not going to feel as bloated. You're not going to feel as uncomfortable after you've had a meal, and you're going to eat less overall as well. Nice, simple, healthy tip. I would like to take a very quick moment to thank you for taking the time to watch my video. I know there are literally thousands, millions perhaps, other videos that you could be watching right now. So the fact you've chosen mine is something that I thoroughly appreciate. Another thing that I would appreciate tremendously would be if you saw your way clear to subscribing to this channel, Grocery Dad, because that way I can keep on growing it and sharing useful, valuable tips, and you will never miss any of those useful, valuable tips in the future. Now, I think I've told you guys before, but when it comes to chips, crisps, whatever you call them, I'm an absolute fiend. All right, if I buy a packet now, it's just before midday, they'll be gone before 3 o'clock. I'm talking about a big packet as well, not one of those little ones. So this is something that I have to really control, and I have to work on it. It's the one thing that I just lose track of completely. So what I do, what we have is, as you can see here, a selection of multiple different kinds of nuts, peanuts, hazelnuts, and on it goes. And you can see from the size of these different containers just how many of these salted peanuts I get through. Somebody please tell me in the comments if I'm over consuming. I get through a lot of these things. Is that actually bad for me? I know there's a lot of salt, but I think it's okay. Please let me know if I'm wrong though. That aside, I believe there are a bunch of benefits here. These nuts have some nutritional value that chips and crisps do not. Hollow calories, not providing you with any nutritional value whatsoever. I'm also going to go ahead and say that per portion, nuts are better value for money. Nuts, pecans, hazelnuts, a lot of these nuts can be very expensive, but you're only going to have a handful in any one go. So that whole thing about chewing comes into play again. And as a result of that, per portion, you're going to get better value for money out of this lot than you would from a packet of chips. So go find yourself a store like we do that does big bags, do the whole bulk buy, better value kind of thing, get them separated out into these containers, and then just dip in with little handfuls, pop them into little Tupperware containers when you go out. Anytime we leave the house, we've got 2 or 3 of these in a bag, and we just snack on those as we go. No more chips.
So there you have it, 5 insanely easy tips that I use to eat a little bit healthier every single day and save money in the process. Which one's your favourite? Tell me in the comments, and if you like this sort of jazz, then take a look at this video for more of the same. See you in another one.